What do you do when your best friend is just too busy for you? Welcome back to Ask Dr. Syra, the show where I answer your questions about mental health, personal growth, and relationships. Today's question is about friendship. And the question comes from Remat. Remat says, "My best friend has become really busy since her granddaughter was born. I love the little one, but I feel she is putting her life on hold, and the parents don't even really appreciate it. How can I get through to her? My best friend has become really busy since her granddaughter was born. How can I get through to her? Parents don't even really appreciate what she's doing." This is a tough one because this happens sometimes, right? Where you have a friend and you're kind of watching them make some choices and feeling like, oh, I don't know if this is the best thing you should be doing, but not really sure how to tell them, whether you should tell them. It's a really common conundrum that people have in friendships. And so there's a couple of things that I would recommend as you're kind of wrestling with this question, Remat. So three things. The first is that one thing to recognize is, I don't know if this is her first grandchild, but if it is, then your friend is likely going through a whole transition into this new role as a grandmother. And that comes with all kinds of things, right? A lot of time when people become grandparents, it's almost like they get a second chance, and they just get to kind of love the child. They don't have to do all the hard work of parenting and disciplining. And so she may be having this experience of like this new role, this new awakening, this new opening. And that's actually where her priority might be. And that's kind of what you're seeing as her friend, because she's stepping into something maybe something that she's been wanting for a while, and something that you might be enjoying doing. And so, the question is, as her friend, do I let her get too deep, right? That's the second part, is like, what is the role of a friend in a situation like this? And I would say the role of a friend, because remember, you're not her mom or her teacher, you're her friend. And so the role of a friend is one to be a support, right? So to think about, how can you support her as she's having this new experience of grandmotherhood? Does she want to talk about it? Does she want to show you pictures? Does she want you to get to know the baby? How can you support her? Because remember, with friendship, sometimes we think about, like, what's in it for me, but the real friendship, we're actually looking at what's best for the other person, even if it means at times it's not necessarily what's going to fill our tank. It's like, they need this right now, and so can I give them this? So that would be the question to ask myself, is rather than how can I get through to her, the question would be, how can I support her? Because get through to her makes it sound like you already know that she's doing something wrong and you want her to tell her, and you want to get through to her that she's making a mistake. But remember, life will show her that. If she's in too deep, and if the kids really don't appreciate what she's doing, she'll come to see that on her own, right? And you telling her that kind of makes you the bad guy then. This is the thing about families and friendships, right? Is sometimes, like, there's a line. Sometimes, like, I know there's this thing that we used to say when we were kids, like, I can diss my mom, but you can't diss my mom, right? Like, I can complain about my family, but I don't want you joining in when I complain about my family. Because there's this kind of thing that we do. We want to protect our loved ones in that way, even when we're irritated with them. So no, giving her like permission to vent if she needs to tell you whatever she wants to tell you, but also not forming judgments and opinions about her family members around that. Hard to do, but that would be the ask of friendship. The third thing I would say is thinking about your own support circle, right? This is your best friend. This is somebody who's probably been through thick and thin with you, probably for many years, and now suddenly the dynamic is changing. And so as she's kind of busy doing this other piece of her life, I would ask myself, if it were me, who do I have in my life to support me besides this person? If most of my emotional kind of communication, relational needs are getting met in this relationship with her, in this friendship, then it's going to be really hard. And you might even feel a bit jealous when something else comes to take her attention. So the opportunity really is to start expanding your own network of support and looking at who else in my life can I bring in at this time when she's busy? That might be a sibling, that might be a neighbor, that might be a friend, that might be somebody from the past who's just kind of popped up again in your life. It doesn't have to be her. See, what happens with these best friend kind of thing, right, is it can put a lot of pressure on people, because then you're like the only person, or she's the only person that you can go to, and that's not really fair. So that would be the third thing. If you're noticing this change happening, and it's not to be like, well, you're not my friend, so I'm gonna go make more friends. It's not like that, right? It's just more about, okay, you're busy, you have other things going on in your life, and I want to make sure that I'm also getting to socialize and I'm also getting to do things. And you don't even have to really have that conversation. It's just something that you do. And with that intention of being supportive. Sometimes when we have the intention, like when we're angry about it or upset about it or hurt, then it comes across as like a punishment when we're trying to look for other supports. But if you're doing it from an intention of supporting her, then the tone changes altogether. So that's what I would say. I would say that, remember, she's in a new role and maybe a new stage of her life. Letting life show her rather than you having to be the one to show her. And finally, expanding your own support circle to make sure that you're getting what you need as far as friendship and interaction. So those are my thoughts. And let me know if you would like to pose your own question. You can send that to the email address at the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And join us for Monday Musings. We talk about all of these topics and kind of go deeper into them. It'd be great to see you there. It's free. It's open to everybody. You get the Zoom link one time and it works for ongoing. So join us for Monday Musings. You can find out more about that by visiting our website. And I'll see you next time. Bye.